Now, let me have the first area, which we think that it is your perspective to our culture, the women's situation. It's always been discussed whenever I'm in a scientific conference with those whom I knew during the conference. They ask me about the women, and it's a common subject. And in the women's subject, the main thing that they're concerned about, or they speak about it, they want to know answers about it, is the why the women cover themselves, or the veil, and the matter of divorce, and the matter of marrying from more than one. Naturally, when I'm going to speak about this matter, the way how do we look to ourselves and the way how to look to you is going to affect my talk to a large extent. But I will try my best to put myself in your shoes and think in that way and have a conclusion after that. When I put myself in your shoes, i.e. in your position, and look to our culture and to the position of the women in our culture, I'll probably start understanding your concerns, if you are concerned at all. You see, the Western culture, or the American culture, is built on individualism. What every individual do, the collective effort of an individual, make a team, make the nation. So the bricks of the cultural and the social fabric in the American culture is individual. And this is by and large happened after the Second World War, I think. The fabric of our culture is made from blocks. These blocks are families. In our culture, the family is the block that make the building of the culture. The individual move after he is being raised in a family. From this perspective, you probably start to understand the position. We play a very important role on the family, and we believe that the role of a woman in a family is crucial and very important and irreplaceable by a man. This does not mean at all that the woman should not be educated, should not learn, and so on and so forth. But the priority is for the family. All the power of education, all the facilities, and so on and so forth is actually to serve the family. And the society is going to be served through the family. Allow me please to tell you two stories happened to me while I was in Britain doing some of my postgraduate studies. I'll start by the first one when I was sitting in a haircut salon, and about 30 years old lady was performing my haircut. And because I was usually going to this salon, she sort of started talking to me. She was a nice lady, and she told me, "Can I ask you a question? I know I shouldn't, but I want to ask you. And if you live in Britain for some time, if somebody starts asking you while all what you have between him or her, the relation, is trivial, like having a haircut, this would mean you would understand that question. That would be a really burning question." And I told her, yeah, okay. She said, "Why you are covering the women in that way, and why women there is oppressed?" I told her, "Can you do only haircuts only for men, or you actually are a hairdresser, so you can do it to my wife?" And she sort of surprised. She was surprised about this reply, and she said, "No, of course I'm a qualified hairdresser, but this is the job that I can get now. Is I didn't find a hairdresser job, and I don't have enough money to make my salon." I told her, "Okay, I will give you my address and I will arrange with my wife, so you probably can go and do hairdress if you don't mind." She said, "Yeah, sure, of course I can go after my working hours." Well, I told her this is the first part of the answer. The second part is all our social gathering of the women is actually with themselves. Women in our culture, they have their own drivers. She said, you mean if she has a car, she have a driver? I said, yes. And so I started to explain the cultural situation in which I'm living. And she said by this word, I wish that I am there. And after some time she went to my wife, and my wife arranged a little party with the neighbors, and they sat together, about 8 ladies. When I went for my next haircut, she told me, my idea has completely changed. I wish I live in your society. I think that would explain a lot. The second story is, I was having my clinical exam in the postgraduate studies, and my long case, which is a case that I will sit with her for about 30 minutes to take her history and physical examination, and then I will be examined on her. That lady was about 75 years old British lady. After I finished the history, the physical examination and everything, I was having about 10 minutes before the examiners come. So I just sat down and she started to have a chat with me. She told me, where are you from? I told her I'm from Saudi Arabia, and she said, where you cover the women? I told her yes. And she said, you know, son? I told her what? She told me, when I was in my 20s, we used to cover ourselves by having the hat, and actually we have something also to cover our faces, and we used to be decent. This is what she said. We used to be decent, not like what the women are doing now, having these short skirts and almost having nothing being covered from their bodies. This is the second story, and of course we have the chat along that till the examiners come. These two stories tells you that the fact that we are covering the women, that it is the origin in all the original in all cultures, and whatever happens after that is not a positive change. Whatever happening after that is happening due to a compulsory, unavoidable social pressures. The woman has to go to work, has to leave the family because she has to win her bread. That's happened after the Second World War. The woman has to leave, the woman has to work because the family cannot support her after the 18, for example. After some time, few years, this has become the fact, and anything else is actually extraordinary. Now the problem with your culture, as I said before, from our perspective, that you see the word as American, and if there is anything is not done the American way, then it is wrong. This is when I put myself in your shoes, I can understand it. If I am someone who thinks that the world is my country, and I am the right, and others are not right, from this perspective, certainly the covering of the women as we have, or what we call it hijab, is wrong. But look at the meaning of hijab in our language. Hijab means something to protect from. What you call it covering, we call it hijab. And the hijab is to prevent what can lead to what is happening in cultures which do not support hijab: rape, abuse, harassment, illegal abortion, single parenting, teenager abortion, and many other things. While I'm preparing this talk to you, I was sitting at my salon having a haircut. It seems that I'm telling a lot of stories while I'm having a haircut, but here in Saudi Arabia we have only the men who do the haircut for men, by the way. I was reading in a newspaper, and here come to me two pieces in the news that actually attracted my attention, and I wanted to tell it to you while I'm recording this tape. The first one says that there is a blouse, which is a feminine blouse, that called